Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cookiecast. Today is the Cookiecast NFL podcast. It's the Week 9 review, Week 10 preview. How are you doing in your fantasy league? Are you winning? Are you losing? Some of us are winning, some of us losing, but we'll get to that in a bit. So yeah, Week 10. Season's nearly over at this point in time, isn't it? Shame. There are no special guests this week, ladies and gentlemen. Just myself, my co-host, Mr. Paul Williams, and the stats mistress, Leanne Davies. But we managed to cover everything off, I think. So join me now as we look at the Cookiecast NFL podcast for Week 9 review, Week 10 preview. Go!
Flashing.
Power's gone off.
Mother!
After I said to you, you're fine, the power's still on.
Rookie mistake.
Flashy, flashy. Flashy, flashy.
Flashy.
Mother. America.
Ooh! That often sit over here.
Sorry? Oh, I thought you said I don't often say that.
I don't often sit over here. Ooh, drink.
I might have already spied the results for the week.
No!
You're a disgrace. You're a disgrace.
But we'll come to that later on.
Here we are. It's the Cookiecast NFL podcast. It's podcast time. Do one of them. Don't have to do that anymore. You know that. You know that. You don't know that though.
Why? Why is this one not knowing?
No, nothing.
It's the
Inferior,
slow cousin.
The sloth.
Some might
Sloth.
say sloth. We are Week 9 review. Week 9 review.
Well played.
Week
Yeah, turn yourself upside down.
10. I think they actually said on a commentator said at the weekend that we were officially halfway through.
Yeah, Scott Hansen covered it on Red Zone. He said as soon as the sixth game went final on Sunday, that's officially the half of the games this season, including the playoff games and the Super Bowl, will have been played. So unfortunately, we're now officially over the hump, and we're on the way down.
Brings a tear to my eye.
You spend all that time waiting for the football season to come around, and then
it's nearly over by the time you've realised. I'm joined today with my co-host, Mr. Paul Williams.
Good evening, everybody.
Our stats mistress and only female member of the league, Miss Leanne Davies.
Hello.
To discuss Week 9. A truly terrible week for some of us.
And preview Week 10.
And preview Week 10 in the NFL 2018 season. We all know the drill right now. So let's get into it.
Just told me I broke the first rule of podcasting. I stated a time. I was like, good evening. But people might not be listening in the evening or watching in the evening. So I should borrow a thing from a podcast I used to listen to, the Taz Show. Still going. It was Good Moment. Good moment, everybody.
Good moment.
Because that is
relevant to everybody.
yes.
You could even ruin the magic by saying we're not even recording on our normal day.
We are not. We've had to push this back as I was previously indisposed yesterday evening by events taking place in that there Leeds.
So
Completely different podcast.
Completely different podcast. Totally different. Totes diff, if you will. I hate that phrase.
we are joined today. My co-host and the stats mistress are all joined today by absolutely nobody.
Phoning it in.
Nobody's phoning it in,
They phoned
but they are phoning it in. Benji, big shout out to Benji.
Not dead.
Not dead.
Not dead.
Not dead.
Definitely not dead.
But not here. in spirit either. Benji is indisposed.
Last minute indisposed.
Something to do with being beaten this week.
Something like that. I mean, he couldn't take the shame of being put to the sword by the Zeke-taculars. I have to change my team name now.
I don't know what's happening right now, but I don't like it. I do not like it.
I know what I see, but I don't like it.
And our newest member of the Sin Bin, Mr. Colin Wright, decided he was like, I'm not even going to bother giving you an excuse. Well done, Cole. Go and join your mate Tim in the Sin Bin.
Ooh.
At least Colin made some effort. He has been on.
That is true. Cole has made it to a recording.
He has.
Via the medium of Skype, which, as we discussed, will never be happening.
Never happen again without intervention, let's say.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in with game 1 of week 9. In my phone is the Cookie versus Obi-Wan Mahomes. Unfortunately for me, he didn't phone in his team this week. However, my team, I'm only going to say this, I struggled to put a full team up this week. I had so many players on byes and injuries that the day of us playing, the day of games, Sunday, I didn't have a full roster. I had to scramble and try and pick someone up. Me and the stats mistress also had a trade that didn't clear until the Sunday morning.
Well, that doesn't sound dodgy at all.
No, just don't check the waiver wire. Don't check the trades this week either.
In fact, I've got an email because I get all the emails about it being the league manager and all. That's right. I'm sure I saw it and I was like, "What? I can't remember who it was."
We don't need to talk about it. Let's move on.
It was just a wide receiver for a wide
Was
receiver.
it Amari Cooper?
No.
I barely remember who we traded. I don't know. Something about a breakfast
I seem
cereal.
to have lucked out both weeks though, because one was on a bye last week
And
that
one's
I
on a bye this
received,
week.
and then the one I get back is on a bye this week.
Interesting.
You did have 5 people on bye last week. That is insane. I mean, to be fair,
I had a...
you've got a backup kicker stashed on your bench. I don't know why that is.
Never know when you might need a kicker. It's good kicker.
There's so many to take.
I had to drop my second kicker. Yeah.
Stop keeping backup kickers.
You never know. I like to have,
Good God, man.
I like to have an option.
Stop it.
So,
Stop it with the backup kickers.
I can safely say that I, as is shown in the scores, could not provide a team last week with my pitiful 64 points going up against a monstrous 116. The best I can give you, Cole, is to not call you a shit stain right now. Moving on.
I mean, it is impressive that 75% of your points came from 2 players.
Yeah. Moving on swiftly, the next game in my phone is another disgusting matchup. The Benji that didn't make it today went up against my co-host. I mean, it makes me vomit a little to have to say Benji provided, his Oxford Heathens team provided a 71 against Paul Williams' hide and Zeke, who managed a 98 and the second W of the season. You disgust me, the pair of you.
So it may have gone unnoticed, but the Cookiecast had a tweet last week.
Did it?
It did. Bear with me, and I will read it out. Oh, it definitely did. I'll read it to you.
Was it from you?
It was not from me, but it did involve me.
Really?
So
This is intriguing.
There must be somebody you know.
And I quote, if I can find it.
Cookiecast, Yorkshire's #1 podcast.
Forgot that.
Best podcast out there.
Was
Yeah,
somebody
absolutely.
Is
challenging
that what the
that?
tweet said?
Something like that.
Somebody's
Oh my God, where is
challenging. Somebody's challenging it. Finally.
Good God.
Good God, man.
Good God. My God. Where the hell is it?
Nobody knows. I could probably find it quicker.
No one knows. God's sake.
This is just dead air, right?
It really is, isn't it? It's pretty up there with the travesty of everything. La 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 la, musical interlude. Mamma mamma mia, my.
Stuart Woodmanson.
That's the one. There it is.
Stubert84 tweeted.
I can't even see it now.
Cookiecast Pod at Cookiecast Pod. I demand a recount on Paul's score. It should not stand. Hashtag undefeated loser. Hashtag reverse Undertaker.
Reverse Undertaker.
How the fuck did you manage to generate your own hashtag in 1 week?
Is this somebody you know?
This is the guy I went to the wrestling with last night.
Oh, okay, right. I thought this was a random listener that's like really put out by the fact.
Well, not only is he my friend, he is actually an avid listener. So he started listening a couple of weeks ago when our esteemed colleague Mr. Matthew Moore was on the podcast, and has been listening every week since, and was even listening in the car with his wife and children.
This is probably the
special shout out to him.
So there you go.
T-shirt. When we get a T-shirt. At this point in time, I really should probably start looking through the tweets that the podcast gets, because there's freaking loads of them.
Oh dear. Looks like someone's not maintaining his social media presence. Oh dear.
That's a job for later.
Shit. You'll need to employ a social media officer.
Oh my god. So all those times I'll go, send us something on social media.
That's the worst thing.
I'm like,
at the end of every podcast, it's
somebody
hit us up on the cookiecast.com.
Somebody
and
send
we'll
us
just
tweet.
ignore you all through the day. It's fine.
It's okay, we've got a 9-week turnaround time on getting back to you.
Shit the bed.
Not too sure about that.
Usually replies in 9 to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Damn it. For all of you Twitterverse people, I apologize. I can only apologise.
Rumblings in the Twitter.
And I immediately, the moment I stop this podcast, I will immediately jump on Twitter and give props where props are due. I will, because I feel it's rude to do it now. Moving on.
Moving swiftly.
So here's where we're talking the big money. I love to see games like this. So our next game on our list is Rob Rafton's Yorkshire Knights going up against last week's
If I was Rob,
special guest.
Yeah.
If I was Rob, I would be fuming at this point.
Absolutely.
It's a fairly close game.
So last week's podcast participant, Mr. Philip Walls, who has changed his team name.
Good man. He told me about it. In fact, in the car ride over here last week, and it's exquisite.
Rivers Deep, Josh Gordon High.
Reaching.
Anybody?
It's a song, isn't it?
Tell you what, why don't you send us a tweet about it?
Yeah, send us a tweet about it, and
we can ignore you all
straight away. Sounds fine.
I've got a great... Sorry, this has gone right off the rails on this one, but I've got a great image on a podcast that starts with you looking into that camera and going... and then it starts...
What is that one?
So the thumbnail for that podcast is just your face.
Right in the lens?
Right in it.
Proper sort of like fish lens type.
So, for example, the thumbnail for the one that Cole actually did is just Cole on the screen. It's just like, brilliant.
Excellent.
You've got to feel bad for everybody involved here, because I think these are some of the highest scores in the league.
So Rob, by looks of it, scored the third highest points of the week and still lost.
And was beaten by the second highest points of the week. Shout out to my boy Phil. Still don't know why
You're my boy, dude.
supporting the Toops, but
yeah, he seems to be throwing his support behind him, and it's disgusting to see.
it is
Collusion.
truly sickening.
I mean, it has to be at this point. It has to go down as collusion.
I might have an idea what that is. 119 trumps the 113. I'm afraid, Rob. Philip Walls posts the dub. Yorkshire Knights 113 and a loss. Fucking hell.
We've all been there.
Moving on.
We've all been
to the next game on my list is Sinbin's very own member.
Sinbin's very own.
Tim Lacey with his team, the Squirrel Killers, going up against my pick for the Fantasy Super Bowl, Thomas Quinn's team. I don't need gun, I've got donk.
It's the worst team name ever.
I don't need good team name. I need a better team name.
Surely it's just, I don't need good team name, I've got Todd Gurley. Just call his team Todd Gurley.
That's an idea. The Squirrel Killers, Mr. Tim Lacey's Squirrel Killers, could not go up against my boy.
You can't have two boys.
Love you, Tom. Tom Quinn's team. I mean,
you absolutely can have two boys.
Gun.
The guy I mentioned before has twin boys, so he definitely does have two boys.
71 versus 88. Ain't going to do it, Tim. Maybe you want to address that.
Trade away all your starters, mate. Just get rid.
He would have beat certain people.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, good.
Kaepernick's night.
My throwaway game of the week. James Forrester Gray with his team, Njokers to the right, versus the scumbag. Matthew Two Tunes, Hurley's, Kaepernick's Nike.
The shots are getting stiffer each week.
Would anybody like to guess who
Am I
won
starting
this
to
one?
feel sympathy for
Tell you what, send
Senor 2?
Send us a tweet and let us know who you think won this one. Shockingly, Njokers to the right posted 107, fourth highest score in the league, but could not defeat Kaepernick's Nikes, 135, the highest points in the league.
Golf club.
Disgusting. And bringing us right up to our final game of the week, the Stats Mistress. Come on, sack one.
Epic scoring this week from myself.
It was a fantastic.
Matthew Moores.
I believe so. Combined, you scored less than two.
Yeah.
Your game scored less than
Matthew Moore's feeling good. Matthew Moore posted a 50.
I mean, that's the equivalent of getting 7 balled in pool and having to take your pants down. Just awful.
The Stats Mistress posted 64 and took the win.
So for all those, you scored the second lowest, I think, of the week. Still won.
Yes. Yep. So I was saying you got 64, maybe. I think, and you lost.
Lovely 0 there. A nice 2. But I mean, look at this. When your highest score is 10 points, know you're on a winner.
Matt did cover it at some point during the course of the weekend when he said that he thought that benching Stafford was going to be a huge mistake, and it turns out that Derek Carr outscored him with his 6 fantasy points. Yeah. It was like, what the fuck?
So there we go. Now on to the least favourite part of the podcast.
Oh no, it's not.
Only because there's been a change.
No, there's been a change. Oh God, it's so good.
And you informed me incorrectly about that change. I've just realised, looking at the actual positions. So, the standings at the end of week 9, moving swiftly into week 10. Everyone's favourite team, my personal favourite, Kaepernick's Nike, 8-1.
I'm almost. It's got to a point now where
just get out.
No, he still can technically not get into the playoffs. I suppose he could
just
lose
his
next 4. Is that right? Yeah. So if he loses his next 4, goes to 8-5. Yeah, he can still not make the playoffs. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for that one. Joint second, we've got Obi-Wan Mahomes, Colin Wright, 7-2, and Thomas Quinn's I've Got a Donk, 7-2.
Just I've Got a Donk.
Yeah. The only man at number 4 is to the right.
Njoku's to the right.
James Forrester Gray, 6-3. We've got the only person at number 5. Matthew Moore's Feeling Good with a 5-4. Then we move into a triple threat at number 6. Josh Gordon High, 4-5. Come on, Sack One, 4 and 5. The Cookie, 4 and 5. We drop down into 9th place. The only man at number 9 is Rob Rafton's Yorkshire Knights with a 3 and 6. And then we talk about the 3 players who are joint 10th.
3 players at joint 10th.
3 players.
I did not realise this.
Apparently you didn't.
No, I didn't.
The head of the 3 at 10, the 2 and 7 club, as it's also known, is my co-host, Mr. Paul Williams' team, Hide and Zeke.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. No longer bottom.
You've moved up 2 places.
Not even bottom, not even second.
Joint bottom.
3rd from bottom.
Just think 3 short weeks ago how I would have craved
To be 3rd from bottom.
to be 3rd from bottom.
The Sin Bin's very own Mr. Tim Lacey's team, the Squirrel Killers.
Okay.
Is he ever going to get out of the sin bin now, right?
When he comes on the podcast.
Yeah, he
So,
can easily.
never then.
Exactly. He's also sitting at 2 and 7, and the Oxford Heathens team manager Benji Keep is also sitting at 2 and 7.
So, this could be an appropriate moment to introduce the prize.
You've got 2 surprises this week,
Oh
Paul.
my god, what the hell?
So, I'll hand you over to the stats mistress, who will tell you about one of the league prizes for this season.
So, slight mis-selling from Amazon in
Mis-selling
terms
complaint.
of the size.
Yes.
That's
But
what she
here we have a packet of coasters that will go to the loser of the league. On it does say Fantasy League last place.
That is incredible.
But these are actually mini coasters for
Is
a
it
car,
car
apparently.
coasters?
Yeah, car coasters
Yeah, they
to go
weren't,
in
they weren't
your...
sold like that.
What
No.
the hell constitutes
And,
a car coaster?
As you can
So it goes in
see,
your little cup holder.
Oh, right,
as you
okay,
can
fair
see,
enough.
they are official NFL.
Yeah,
So-
branded.
Don't ask how much they cost, is
No.
the spoiler on that one.
Very, very upset that they're so tiny, but they still serve the purpose.
So?
They have last place for
This
them.
could be you.
They absolutely
This-
do.
you-
This could
you
be
could
you. Come on.
running
Bring
for
on
it.
the money.
Excellent.
Show me the money.
We'll leave those there.
Right, what do you want next?
Uh,
Next week game.
next week's games.
Next week's games.
Fantasy game.
Next week's
Fantasy
matchups. Now, did we discuss last week that we were potentially going to look into the... we have to guess which person's going to
Yes.
win of that matchup?
This was
Good
discussed and we can
suggestion
move.
from Phil.
Philip Walls, after the podcast turned off, he said, I've got a suggestion for your podcast, which personally I am all about. And if you want to send us a tweet about that, if you want to send us a tweet about that, we will
Have you got an idea
definitely
that you'd like us to ignore blindly?
pick
Then
that
please,
up at some
send
point
a
in the
tweet
next
about
9 weeks.
Send a tweet, but maybe email as well, just to let us know that you've sent a tweet.
I've got an idea for you
Emails.
for next fantasy season.
So, let's talk some turkey.
Oh, that'd be nice on the week.
Last week's podcast guest, Mr. Philip Walls, goes up against, with Rivers Deep, Josh Gordon High, goes up against our very own, The Cookie, with The Cookie. Early projections suggest, with a full lineup set versus a not full lineup set, that Mr. Philip Walls is definitely going to win this one. Shocker. I predict that Phil Walls will win this matchup. Put me down for a Phil win.
A Phil win. Not a Phil
A
Walls.
Phil win, Walls.
Unfortunately, I will go for a Phil Walls win just because he has the tandem of Mr. Philip Rivers and Melvin Gordon, and he's also got Josh Gordon.
As his name would suggest.
He's Gordoned to the max.
I'll support your corner for
Oh.
Don't throw away your
Oh.
don't throw away your score.
We ain't got no prizes for this.
No, this is just a new segment.
New Segas.
Yeah.
New Segas.
New pair of checkers. Sorry, what?
My one of my personal favourites. Rob Rafton's Yorkshire Knights goes up against one of my other personal
Oh God. One of your personal favourites.
my erstwhile
No, he's not dead.
my current co-host, Miss Paul Williams, Hide and Zeke.
Oh my God!
Early projections.
Does that mean that next week we could have a Rob Rafton sighting?
Don't even start. Rob Rafton is doing back-to-back podcasts.
Oh my God!
Literally, he doesn't appear for 10 weeks, and then he's on week 10 and week 11.
Excellent.
He's like a bad penny.
Oh my God.
Love you, Rob.
I'm almost crying.
Early projections, unfortunately, would suggest that you are going to go back to the way you know and love.
Listen, everyone knows this is the beginning of the playoff push.
Put me down for Rob real quickly before he realises. Who do you think is going to win in this match?
Who do I think? I don't think anything. I know that the Hide and Zeke boys will be getting a win.
Paul for Paul. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Rob.
Of course you are.
The smart money says. Oh, now then.
Although, what were the buys?
The Oxford Heathens, with their manager Benjamin Keep, goes up against the Sin Bin's very own legend, Tim Lacey's Squirrel Killers. Early reports suggest a Lacey victory?
Yeah, that's where my money would be going, unfortunately, Ben.
Oh my God.
Soz Ben.
I am very torn on this one. Because the smart money says to put your money on...
Battle of the 2 and 7s. Or two of the 2 and 7 club.
Put your money on Tim? There's only one thing I put my money on Tim. It's not turn up.
Ooh, burn.
Put me down for Tim, unfortunately, I'm afraid.
Tim.
You're going Tim?
Team!
Yeah. It's going to be
Clean
Tim.
sweep on Tim's team.
Sorry, Benji.
Oh.
On Team Tim.
Oof.
Team, if you will.
You might eke out a full bottom placer.
You need any players, let me know. Oh, just like something stuck there.
Unbelievable.
Next.
I don't need a donk. I don't need a gun, I've got a donk. Fucking these fucking team names. Sort your fucking shit out, people. Versus another one, Njoku's to the right, Thomas Quinn versus James Forrester Gray. Early reports say this is going to be fucking close. But hey, who thinks I'm not supporting my boy? Put me down for Tom.
Thomas.
Which boy?
Who are you, boy?
Well, which boy are you supporting? Cause
Thomas!
You've already talked about your boy.
Thomas!
Talk about your other boy.
They're all my boys.
Tom has Todd Gurley, so obviously he's going to win.
Odds.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to bet Tom. Me?
Oh dear.
I ain't winning this week.
The newest member of the Sin Bin's Colin Wright's team, Obi-Wan Mahomes, goes up against our stats mistress, her team, Come On Saquon. Early reports would suggest...
suggestions.
Even without a full lineup, Cole's going to beat me.
He could potentially drop a couple of players and still walk this one. Fucking Cole's team. Smart money says to put me down for Cole, I'm afraid. Sorry. Actually, did you back me?
I did.
Right, I'm backing you. Put me down for
But...
She's not even backing herself.
No, I'm not backing. My money's on Cole.
you. Put me down for you. I have a good feeling about this.
He's got Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it's got Patrick Mahomes.
Colin.
Patrick Mahomes, man.
He's the real deal.
Jesus.
And
He's
the
the
worst
real
thing
deal.
is that I've got him in my other league. So I
the
want him
dilemma.
to do well.
The dilemma.
Where's your money, Paul?
Cole. Cole.
Safe bet.
And then it's the Matthews.
Battle of the Mats.
Matthew of the Mats. Both of them have the 2 T's. But do they have
What it takes.
what it
The
takes to win?
hunger, the desire, the passion.
Matthew.
So Matthew Moss, Thielen Good goes up against the Matthew, 2 teams Taylor Hayes, Kaepernick's Nike. Early reports suggest that without a full lineup, Toots is going to absolutely smash it. And again, I have to utter words that I don't want to have to utter. Put me down for he who shall not be named.
Do you know what dawned on me the other day? I even said to him at football on Monday night,
pick yourself up off the floor and stop crying.
That as well. I did.
Did you clap?
I may have gone in with the shoulder charge a bit heftily, but I did say to him that I think I've already resigned myself to the fact that he's probably going to win the fantasy.
He's not. Tom's going to win. Tom is going to win.
Yeah, but you get that thing where like week 16, 17, you get a lot of people. You got like teams resting players.
If I can find a bookie that'll take that bet, I'm going to put £10 on Tom to win the league. You heard it here first, kids. I'll bet you a 10 on the Tom then.
So we've got one for Toots.
Yeah, I'm smart money, I'm afraid.
Do you know what? Not here. Not in this seat. Matthew Moore pulls out the upset W.
It's fair call.
It'd be good to see.
And that is our fantasy games of the week.
Fantasy League done. Stats time, or is it game time?
I'll hand you over to the stats mistress
Stats
herself.
time.
Yeah.
Should have some sort of jingle.
There has been talk about separate jingles for separate things. Did I tell you?
Stats time. Something like that.
Did I tell you that I was looking into? I mean, we've totally missed the boat on this one. So this is like a spoiler with awful consequence. I looked into a possibility of for each of the different podcasts,
Different entrance music. Entrance music, like he's a wrestler.
Slightly different logos. So you got the Cookiecast. If it was the NFL one,
with an NFL
change
ball.
the microphone to a ball.
Yeah.
Change the TechCast to a computer.
TechCast.
Change the football one to the football. All of that. So I might look into that for some of the others because obviously we're probably a little late on this one. Although
Still.
we're going to go all the way up to Super Bowl Sunday.
Obviously,
with a live stream.
Obviously, there won't be any fantasy element to that. So.
No, there'll be a live stream.
Right, week 9 stats. Are you ready?
Bring it.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Uno. Mahomes topped 300 yards passing for an 8th consecutive game with his 375-yard, 3-touchdown showing against the Browns and continued the best start by an NFL quarterback in 68 years. That was a long sentence.
And you got his name wrong.
Whose?
Mahomes.
Mahomes.
Don't be a Cole. We don't talk about Cole anymore.
If he makes it 9 in a row by tearing up the Arizona Cardinals in week 10.
Tearing up.
These aren't my words.
Tearing up their backfield.
These words
He's going to be tearing up their backfield, don't you?
Stolen.
Worry.
That's amazing.
I actually thought when you were looking at this today,
you
should probably give a shout out to whoever you steal your stats from.
Yeah, source your material.
Yeah.
Because you could definitely get sued for it. Don't sue us, please.
I'm just quoting the factual information of somebody else.
Factually accurate statements.
He'll tie the record for consecutive 300-yard games held by Drew Brees. There you go.
Is that Drew Brees never named MVP of the league, Drew Brees?
Never knowingly named.
Disgusting.
Dictated but never read.
Travis Kelce is arguably the best tight end in the NFL.
That's what she said.
And he continued showing us why in the Chiefs' 37-21 win over the Cleveland Browns. Kelce caught 7 of his 9 targets for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, this is where stealing other people's stats sort of
Come back to bite you.
doesn't come back to bite you, but there is a question at the start of this stat. Is Phillip Rivers the most underrated player in NFL history?
No.
Yeah, this came up on something else the other day.
Just no.
No,
I don't know what this is.
But his stats are there. Like, I'm sure he's got over 50,000 yards or something like that. He's got lots of touchdowns. I think he's only ever been to a couple of playoff games, but he's a pretty consistent quarterback.
That's what I said when you were talking about this. I said consistent is not the same as underrated. Consistent is fine because I think the next part of the stat there is more to the stat, and that shows that he is consistent.
I mean, if you're going for like
But
most
we don't
underrated,
But not recognised for it, though.
But we don't want
if you're going on sheer underratedness, surely it has to be Drew Brees. I know everyone absolutely loves him, but he's never won the MVP.
It's got to be Drew Brees. If you said which is the most underrated NFL player, because that's the question, is it Phil Rivers? No, it's Drew Brees. The man puts record after record after record on the board, and everyone goes, "Oh, so he's got a record." If it was fucking Brady, we've all been lining up to blow him.
Nobody would.
Giselle
would.
Yeah, boy.
Finish your stack.
So he led the Chargers to their biggest win in the season on the same day that he made league history and became the fourth quarterback to start 200 consecutive games.
I mean, that's...
alongside Favre, Eli Manning and Peyton Manning.
What's the odd one out there? Jesus Christ,
Eli Manning, I mean.
Jesus Christ.
But then obviously we had that stat overturned last year.
But I mean, that is crazy. 200 starts in a row. Unbroken.
Consistent.
You can't argue.
I will give him consistent. I will give him they pulled out a monster win. I will give him all of those things, but I will not give him most underrated player.
Good win though, on the road in Seattle.
Yeah, it's a good win.
Not to be sniffed at.
I'm not going to take anything away from him. I'm just not going to give him something I don't think he really, at this stage, deserves when there are more deserving players.
Fair.
Comment, please.
Tweet.
Send us a tweet.
Tweets.
I feel so bad.
Facebook posts.
I'd have got it.
MySpace posts.
Yeah.
Bebo. I have no idea what I'm getting into. Tinder. Grinder posts.
Grinder, baby.
Ooh.
Next.
Chargers kicker Caleb Sturgis returned from a quad injury this week and missed 2 pats and a 42-yard field goal. Mike Badgley, who was perfect on 10 kicks in his 2-game audition. That doesn't make sense.
Keep going.
Fortunately, the Chargers still won, but they decided on Monday morning to part with Sturgis.
Caleb. A moment of silent reflection, please. So anyway, he was shit.
So, as I said to you, if your only job is kicking a football through this much space and you can't do it, and as we know, especially in this season, that games have come down to a field goal kick or a winning kick or whatever, and they've been missed, and that team has lost, if that is your only job and you can't do it, you get fired. There are aspects of the NFL that, although, I mean, something like that's quite brutal. If that's your job and you get up on a Monday morning and you're like, see ya. You know, you've been fired, you lost a lot of money and all that, but you didn't do your job properly. There are certain aspects that I'm like, it's as cut and dry as it comes.
I mean, the kind of money that's involved with...
If I give you $1 million for something, I want $1 million worth of product.
Yeah.
Whether that's cocaine or heroin. What?
Not exactly been a banner year for kicking in the NFL.
Fucking kickers are getting brutalised this year. But, to me, it probably sets some kind of standard, you know. Just so you know, if you don't do your job,
if you get around. Simple.
Let that be a lesson to all of you.
Children.
Next, Nick Mullins threw 3 touchdowns in his NFL debut as a San Francisco 49er on Thursday night. The Buffalo Bills quarterbacks, for example, however, have combined 3 touchdowns all season when they headed into Week 9. Having said that, Bills quarterback Nathan Peterman now actually has 6 career touchdown passes.
Wait for it.
Only 3 to teammates and 3 to the opponent.
Oh no!
I did see a suggestion, and this was a shout out to you, Paul, that maybe Buffalo should consider calling erstwhile Cardinals quarterback Sam Bradford.
Erstwhile.
Erstwhile.
It was actually in a stat. The word erstwhile.
Somebody else used it.
So somebody out there
correctly.
In the podcasting world, the NFL world, is listening to Yorkshire's #1 NFL podcast and has gone, erstwhile. I wonder what that name. I wonder what that word means.
You don't hear
we
that
gave
every day.
The definition, and they went.
You don't say that every day.
That can go in my next stat, and it did.
It'll be like word of the day. And use it in
word
a
of the day
sentence.
toilet paper. Is that where you got it from?
Must have been cool. Cool, man.
Both the Rams and Saints come into the game this week averaging more than 33 points per game, which is the first time that's happened in Week 9 or later. Prior to the game between them, they had combined to win 14 games with just one loss, which gave them a winning percentage of 93%. That's the fourth highest mark between two teams in week 9 or later, with the previous 3 winners going on to reach the Super Bowl.
I nearly had a little cry.
Why?
Because the Rams got beat.
So?
They were undefeated at that point.
So?
They've done so well. I mean,
look at the case. Like, so the last team to get close to going undefeated was the Panthers. 3 seasons ago, I think they got to 14 maybe, and then they lost against the Falcons in week 15 or something like that. And someone said it was probably the best thing that could have happened to them. Because after a certain while, superstition starts to kick in.
Oh, God, yeah.
And you start to think, oh, God.
We
can't afford to lose this week. We can't afford to lose this week. Oh, God. So at least, like, if you know you can lose, then you can get it off you. You can get it off your chest.
And the theory being is you come back stronger and harder.
Oh, yeah. I obviously will come on to the games that next week, but I wouldn't want to be the team playing the Rams this week.
My thing
because that defense is going to step up.
We said last week.
Top game.
We said last week that the game of the week was hands down that game. I was super excited for that.
It wasn't. It just the first quarter alone was just insane. Like they even said it on Sky Sports. So normally I just watch Red Zone all the way through till 1, but this week I specifically turned over to watch that game, and they even said it on Sky Sports. It was like, if you've got any friends who are not that familiar with the NFL,
get them to watch this.
Get them on the phone, tell them to turn on the TV, and put on this game now because it's going to be the best thing we'll ever see in NFL.
Prime football. It was,
but not from a defensive perspective.
No, but it was. This team has the ball. They're driving it on the field. They're scoring. It goes over to the next team. They drive it back up the field. They score. It was prime football from that perspective, and they're probably right. If you want to get somebody into the NFL, that game would have been a good way to.
But it was just good, wasn't it? Because it was like two of the best quarterbacks in the league, 2 of the best running backs in the league. I mean, arguably the 2 best running backs in the league. Receivers that are on point at the moment. Oh, just like sort of moving ahead slightly. Des Bryant going to the Saints today. That makes them even stronger.
Well, I sent a message out. We have a NFL group for our league, for this league, and I sent out a message today saying that to me is a clear message to the rest of the league, saying the Super Bowl this year, it's us and another team, whoever that is.
Well, they said they covered it on the Around the NFL podcast the other day. They were saying that for them to get to the Super Bowl, you kind of get the feeling that they'd have to hold home field advantage, because you can't really see them going to Los Angeles and beating the Rams in LA. Yeah, you'd have to see the Rams coming in again to New Orleans so they can, hold the home field. Yeah.
It was, to me, like I said, that was a very clear message to anybody that was listening that's Super Bowl territory.
But as it stands, if they can win the rest of their games, they will have the number 1 seeding, because they'll have the tiebreaker over the Rams. Yeah. So, all to play for.
Start me up.
Watch this space, indeed.
Not this space.
No.
Because this space will not change.
No, it will.
No, it will.
This space will change.
It will. We're going to our new studio.
Okay. Sticking with the Saints, receiver 25-year-old Michael Thomas already has a Pro Bowl and 2,000-yard seasons under his belt, but Sunday may have been his best day in the NFL. In a 45-35 win against the previously undefeated Rams, Thomas was unstoppable. He finished with 12 receptions and a career-best and franchise record 211 receiving yards. No other player in the 28th season has topped 200 receiving yards.
You've got to give props where props are due at the end of the day.
I'm assuming there's a stat in there about another receiver.
Possibly.
What, the first thing he's done this season? Or something that he's done for the first time this season?
Is it Julio Jones scored? It's the very next stat.
Yeah, I mean, Julio Jones. Do you remember where there was the point in time where it was like, if I don't get Julio Jones, I'm going to jump off a bridge, because, that's where your fantasy starts. And now it's like lukewarm, doesn't even begin to cover.
But no, that's unfair. So this is the first week he'd scored a touchdown. But if you go back to his stats, he still has big numbers each week. The problem with Julio Jones is that teams know he's that good that they'll put 2 men on him.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate thing for that team is that then Calvin Ridley is open, or Mohamed Sanu is open.
I often look at the games over the course of the weekend by, you hear this name, you hear that name, you hear the other name, and it was just Julio Jones. His name seems to be more fading into the background a little.
Fading away. Yes, so he scored for the first time since January.
Well done, Julio.
Vikings wide receiver Adam Thielen managed just 4 catches for 22 yards in Sunday's game against the Lions, meaning he failed to become the first player to notch 9 consecutive 100-yard receiving games. Still gives him 8 consecutive games. Case Keenum had Denver in a position to win before a missed field goal unfortunately cost them the game.
Whoa, did you say missed field goal?
Apparently.
That's not happened this... Oh, no, wait, sorry, it's happened in loads of games this season, sorry.
More importantly, however, this week he failed to throw an interception for the first time as a Bronco. This is progress.
Well done, Case.
Case Keenum getting it
Going
done,
up.
but not getting it
Not getting it done, just not doing it badly.
Shit.
The Steelers still don't have their 2-time All-Pro running back, but they don't seem to be missing a step with Connor serving as a replacement. He's not just filling in admirably, he's reaching heights Bell never has. James is the first player in Steelers history to score 10 touchdowns in the first 8 games of the season.
Fuck you, Bill.
So it's this week, isn't it?
I think he has to report by this week, or they can franchise tag him again.
And if I was the Steelers, I'd be like, oh, there you go, there's your fucking franchise tag, fuck you. If he played this season the way he's played this season, by not playing this season, I would literally, the moment that clock went like that, I'd be like, there you go.
Yeah, but at this point though,
so you either play or you don't.
But by doing that, they're cutting off their nose to spite their face. At this point, they might as well get as good a trade as they can for him, or as good as whatever they're going to get for him.
I just think
probably will be nothing.
I just think it's very poor.
But they shouldn't have to worry about it because James Conner looks like an absolute stud. So they're not going to be,
as Tom would say, a world beater.
Yeah, they're not going to be like. I mean, obviously, like he's not Le'Veon Bell, but he's good.
But those stats would suggest he might even.
Yeah, better. He can go on. He's looked very impressive in his first.
As long as he doesn't get injured.
As long as he doesn't get injured, but Le'Veon Bell's been injured before. He's torn his ACL and stuff like that. So he'll
come back.
It is the world of the being a running back in the National Football League, I suppose.
The Browns fill-in offensive coordinator Freddie Kitchens said he wanted to get Duke Johnson more involved in the offense, and he did. Johnson caught all 9 of the passes thrown his way for 78 yards and a pair of touchdowns for his first scores of the season.
I think that's because I dropped him in my other league.
You do right.
Swag.
I thought the Browns had a reasonable game. I mean, it wasn't a win, but it was a reasonable score.
They were playing the Chiefs.
Exactly. I mean, they were playing arguably one of the better teams in the league at the moment, and they did well to put the score that they did.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it.
They got a score.
You could always be looking at the Dolphins-Jets game.
Oh, my God.
A 9-point game, ladies and gentlemen. 9-point game. Here we go.
Lastly, with kudos going to Goff's Fantasy League points at 28, our Fantasy League Commissioner, Mr. Williams, has disappointingly extended his winning streak to a very respectable 2, as we have already covered. But it wouldn't be a set of complete stats without something about Paul in there. And that
alright, Stu will tweet out his absolute disgusting it, and
I will read it.
You'll just ignore it as always. You son of a bitch.
And that is your Week 9 stats in the bag.
As always, stellar work
from somebody else.
Oh, you whore. You whore.
I had to look all over the internet to combine those though.
All
So you did the leg work. Okay. Right.
More than anybody else.
So...
Oh no, we're not finished, are we?
At this point, we need to cover last week's picks.
Yeah.
And see where that leaves us in the standings.
So, reflecting on last week's predictions, There's two things to touch on. First of all, no, hang on. So the winner this week was yourself, Paul, with 9 games correctly predicted.
You know it! Yeah, boy!
Whereas myself and Cookie only predicted 8 correctly.
No!
So it was very close all around. However, there was 2 specific comments made.
Oh.
Number 1, in the Chiefs-Brown game, we all thought the Chiefs would win. However, Paul said that it would be close. So I've written close in brackets. It was not that close, I don't believe, to warrant being labelled close.
No.
No.
So, points deducted.
Yeah, so -1.
Hey!
However, in the Bucks-Panthers game, you predicted there would be a win from the Panthers. We all predicted the Panthers to win, but you thought they would win by 14 points. We can indeed verify the Panthers won by 14 points.
You're a disgrace.
You don't get an extra point.
Bullshit!
So you can have your point back and still win.
Bullshit!
Bullshit.
So on the leaderboard, we have a leaderboard now.
The leaderboard of 2 weeks.
The
Because
leaderboard of 2
somebody,
weeks.
and I'm not using any names, hasn't gone back and listened to the podcasts.
From the previous weeks.
And done all of the legwork that I am too lazy to do myself.
Oh my god.
But we currently have myself and Paul tied
It's tied.
with a joint win each. And you are bringing up the rear.
Was my extra point this week taken from the fact that I picked the Saints to beat the Rams and no one else did?
I think it was. That was one of them. There's a couple of variations, but yes. You did indeed predict the Saints. You also predicted the Chargers win over the Seahawks, whereas we didn't.
Did Phil pick the Chargers on the Colin Wright principle of I
Yes.
have some players from their team, therefore they will win?
I
Yeah.
think that's how he did the whole one. Good on him. It's a winning formula, apparently.
So,
I bet I picked the Packers though, didn't I?
you did.
What a twat.
You and I did.
What a douchebag!
Yeah. And nobody predicted that the Titans would beat the
The
Cowboys.
Titans.
So, at this point in time, it brings us back to the same thing again. Why do you do this to me, you fucking thing? My NFL webpage jumps back to week 5 every time. I don't understand.
I don't know why you don't just use the mobile app.
I don't understand. However, if you refresh it, it goes back. So let's
Thursday Night Football. What a game!
So, first game of the week, as Mr. Williams said, Thursday night, Friday morning, whatever you want to look at it. The Pittsburgh Steelers are joined by the Carolina Panthers. Where's that lovely jumper that somebody bought?
I had it on last week.
She did have it last week.
I wear it every week.
She's a 1 week deal, kid.
Unbelievable, this guy.
Right.
So, I know where my heart is, but I know where my money is.
See, the reason why you should use the NFL app is because it brings up little stats such as the following. Ben Roethlisberger has a 15-3 record in prime time since 2014.
Oh.
And as this is a prime time game, do you want our first dibs?
I would like to say the Steelers very much so, but I'm going to say the Panthers.
I'm in the same camp. I'd want to say the Steelers, but there's something. I've seen something in the Panthers the last 2 to 3 weeks, and I'm like, to me, they're starting to look a little like the team that went to the Super Bowl.
Interesting.
So I'm going Panthers.
Whilst I do agree with you both that they have looked very good, the Steelers are at home. Steelers don't lose money at home. I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Did you see the knockdown Roethlisberger took in the game?
Oh, definitely looked like he popped his collarbone. And I was thinking, no. And then their backup quarterback came in and just like completed a 4th down or something. I was like, fuck you, bitch.
But then he came back out.
Second game of the week, Sunday's 6 o'clock game, number 1.
Number 1. Number 1.
Spanish, isn't it?
Numero.
He wasn't happy with that.
The Buccaneers versus the Redskins.
Bucks at home.
That's not the order.
Yeah, have you taken your order from the NFL mobile app? Because I've got the next game on this as the Lions.
Yes,
Bears.
so I took it off the Game Pass.
Shut your faces. Bucks Redskins.
Shut your goddamn faces!
Little bit.
So the stat that I have from the NFL mobile app, shout out. 6 of the last 8 matchups between these two have been decided by 3 points or fewer.
The last time the Redskins were featured in a matchup, I went, Adrian Peterson, my boy Adrian Peterson, definitely going to get loads of points. I think he scored 3. It's a Bucks win from me.
Come back.
Are you struggling with this one?
The Bucks' defense is terrible.
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is not.
Fitz fucking magic.
But it's all well and good if he's throwing 4, 5 touchdowns a game. If the defense is giving up a touchdown on like every drive, then he's up against it anyway. They're at home. I'll take the Skins.
Ooh.
Who did you say? Skins.
He said Bucks.
Bucks for me, I'm afraid. What do you think?
I'm torn.
Tough one, that one. But I think that is legitimately a tough game because the Redskins on Sunday were terrible again.
I'm going with the Bucks because of the two, that's who I would like to see win.
Excellent.
Next game at 6 o'clock. The team that's doing very well in the league, the Chiefs, versus team not doing as well, the Cardinals. Not that that's designed to sway anyone.
No stat on this one. It just says Tyreek Hill versus Patrick Peterson.
Well,
to be fair, as a matchup, that is pretty good because he's a pretty good wide receiver up against a very good cornerback.
It's Chiefs for me.
Chiefs for you?
Well, considering the Cardinals can only beat the 49ers this season, it seems. Yes, I will also be going for a Chiefs win. This is where I would like to put up that they will win by 28 points.
And you are...
I'm Chiefs, clean sweep.
Let's talk about the dross-off.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Must be Bills Jets.
It's the Bills versus the Jets. Does anybody care?
Now, this may sway anything you pick. Sam Darnold will miss the game with a sprained foot. So the Jets are going to have to play Josh McCown at quarterback, I think.
Jets.
I'm going Jets.
Still Jets. Are they at home, Jets?
Jets are at home.
I don't know why the Bills bother turning up.
They might be on a bit of a
why they're returning.
rampage.
The Bills are weird. The defense is actually pretty good, but their offense is absolutely abysmal.
Like I say, I don't know why they bother.
And in fact, they're so bad that I'm in the process of trying to pick up the Jets' defense this week. So, oh my God, that is so hard to pick. Yeah, I'll go with the Jets. Excuse me.
So the first of our possible interesting games, I don't know which way you want to slice it. The Colts versus the Jaguars. Jaguars fresh off a bye.
Mm-hmm.
Stat.
And the Colts being the Colts. Go.
Andrew Luck, 6-2 versus the Jags in his career. At Indianapolis.
The Jags are all over the shop. And they just can't seem to get it together. It wouldn't surprise me if we see another week this season where Bortles gets benched.
So, when they were in London 2 weeks ago, I said at the time that it's pretty much like a must-win, but it was a must-win for both teams. And obviously the Eagles managed to get it.
Yeah.
This really is a must-win for the Jags. If they've got any hopes of making the playoffs, they can't afford to go 3-6.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon they'll do it. I'll go Jags.
Colts from me. And lovely little game next. The Bears versus the Lions.
Start. Oh, yes.
I like the look
Jumping
of
straight
this.
in there.
Yeah.
She doesn't even want to hear the start.
Start me.
She doesn't even want to hear the start.
I want to hear the start.
I still want to hear it.
She's not even bothered with the stat that says that the Lions have won 9 of the last 10 games versus the Bears. The Bears.
The Bears defense got 29 points last week,
Yeah, but who were they playing?
and they've got Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback.
Who were the Bears playing?
I don't really care.
Who were the Bears playing?
Who were the Bears playing? It was
Someone terrible.
the Bills.
The Bills.
Let's come back to that then.
No.
No wonder the Bears defense scored that many points because it's got 2 touchdowns. You want the Bears,
It's
don't
the
you?
Bears for me.
There's few, but the Lions also lost last week against the Vikings.
Yeah, the Bears are at home. The Bears should win. But that stat,
What time's the game?
6 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
Bears are gonna
yeah, definitely.
Fucking Lakers.
Did you pick on that one?
Fucking douchebags.
We went
Yeah,
Bears.
Bears. I think we've gone Bears clean sweep there.
Bengals Saints, another 6 o'clock game for Paul and the rest of you.
The stat provided by the NFL mobile app is that the Saints are 4-0 on the road this season.
Yeah, I mean,
First time that's happened since 2009.
obviously
again.
not a question on that one. It's a Saints.
Saints all
from
round.
me.
I mean, you say that, but the Bengals haven't been terrible this season.
But it's the
I'm
Saints.
absolutely picking the
I was
Saints.
just about to say, don't pretend you're picking something other than the Saints. A bit of a snooze fest for me. Another 6 o'clock game. Patriots Titans.
Oh dear.
Oh, I'm going to pick the Titans. Oh, no, I'm not. It's,
Again, this isn't a stat. It's just a point. They've just pointed it out.
They're just saying
Tom
names.
Brady and Patriots offense versus stout Titans defense.
Tom Brady will play.
Tom Brady
of the
to
week.
start.
Tom Brady plays for the New England Patriots. Does anybody want to go with the Titans?
Titans are at home.
No.
No.
It's one of those games where I wouldn't be surprised
No.
if the Titans win. Do you know what? I'm going to pick the Titans. I'm going to go for the Titans.
How many are they going to win by?
3.
1.
Titans by 3.
You're a madman.
Am I?
Obviously, we'll be rewinding to that point.
Am I?
The
Hey!
Browns go up against the Falcons.
Falcons on a 3-game winning streak after starting the season 1-4.
Last of the 6 o'clock games for Paul. It's Falcons' victory for me.
Ooh, look at me, I'm thinking it through.
It's Falcons.
They are in a bit of a hot streak, but I'm going to back my boy
Oh, Baker.
Baker.
Fabulous Baker boys.
to pull it through and get the W. Browns for the win.
Would be good to see.
Moving to the 9:05 game, the
Oh,
Raiders
dear.
versus the Chargers.
Do the Raiders even have a team left?
Chargers 6-2 start is their best since 2006.
I mean, it's just Chargers, isn't it?
Chargers.
Chargers.
Yeah.
Chargers across the board for me.
A 9:25 game, Rams Seahawks. Now,
Russell Wilson is 6-7 in his career versus the Rams. The most losses versus any opponent.
there's this weird part of me that thinks that something's gone horribly wrong with the Rams after a loss and the Seahawks win this, but then there's the smart money that says it's Rams. Rams. I just have a weird feeling. I don't
Rams
know.
bounce back with a big win.
Rams.
Yeah, won't be a big win. Isn't it?
Rams.
Rams.
A game that 9:25 Packers Dolphins. Packers for me.
Start.
Go.
Aaron Rodgers has won 11 straight home games, including playoffs.
Nice.
Packers for
They're
me.
at home.
Dolphins suck balls.
Okay.
The Monday morning game, the late Sunday game, Eagles Cowboys.
Eagles for me.
Eagles for me.
Yeah, sadly.
Ooh,
And what
this is a
could
good
be the truest definition of the dross off of the week?
Again, nice of the league to leave the worst game to last.
We could all have a lion on this one.
Giants at the 49ers.
Giants at 49ers.
Jesus
Does
Christ.
anybody care? 49ers.
Giants coming back off a bye.
49ers. Let's move on.
49ers at home.
Paul? Probably didn't need to shout.
I mean, they're both as bad as each
they're
other.
fucking awful.
Niners are at home, and they've got this Mullins kid coming off a really, really good
49ers.
opening show. And yeah, I'll go for the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm in the same camp.
There we go.
It'll be an interesting week, depending where the scores go, because we've all gone for quite a few. The same.
Very excellent.
And then that means that we have the Ravens, the Broncos, the Texans, and the Vikings all on a bye this week.
Oh yeah, the buys for the week.
Yeah. That sums that up.
There we go.
Done
Done and done.
and
done.
dusted.
Good times. So, I'll close this one out by saying, for all of you people out there listening to Yorkshire's #1 NFL podcast, the best thing you can do with your time this week is to send us a tweet. And on that note,
Thank you for joining us, folks.
thank you for joining us. You're all a wonderful audience.
Same time next week.
Say back
Bye.
time. Say back time.
Bye.
Bye. So there you go. What do you think to that? Good little podcast. Yeah, week 10. Can't believe it. The season's just flying by. For all you YouTube watchers, subscribe, click the bell, leave us a comment. For everybody that listens to the podcast, jump over to thecookiecast.com. I promise, if you send us a tweet, I will actually look at it and respond. I have responded to the tweets that we've been sent, so all you Twitterverse people out there, you can look forward to receiving tweets from us in the future. Didn't think I had to check them, but anyway. So yeah, join us next week for week 10 review, week 11 preview. Obviously by then you'll all be winning in your fantasy leagues, thanks to all the stats and pointers we're giving out. So yeah, join us next time for week 10 review, week 11 preview. But until then, I'm going to say bye-bye.